Okay, I have a program here, and it works in that it runs. Let me prove that to you. So I think I'm funny. I've said bunnies know which programming language is best. C++. He's got a little sign. So this program compiles and it runs, and the output is what I want. And yet still I look at this and I say to myself, this code is hideous and hard for humans to read, which is not what we want. We want code that is nice and readable and understandable and clean and easy for humans to read, and has only comments that actually help us understand and not a bunch of extra nonsense. So let's start examining this. And so first I'm going to look at these comments and say, yeah, single line comments work if they're out to the right of a line of code, but they are ugly that way. I want you to imagine also if someone doesn't have the color coding when they're looking at your file, because really your CPP file is just text. They're going to have black and white only, and all that stuff smushed together is not easy to look at. So I don't want to put comments out to the side. I want to put them just above what I'm explaining. But also, I don't need to write a comment just to explain what this particular line of C++ does. So I don't really need this comment. That doesn't help me. I know it's for I/O because it's called I/O stream. Okay. This one, it says, so I don't have to write that STD, I'm talking about this thing, in front of all my couts. Well, I don't need to tell anyone that, because if they're writing C++ code, they know that. Okay. The main function heading, I know this is mean because it says mean right there, so that doesn't help me, so I'm going to get rid of that. So unnecessary comments are just like as bad as not having comments at all. So I've got return 0 ends the program. Yeah, I know, that's C++, that's what it does. Get rid of that. Now, what comment should I have? How about the one at the top that's got my name and what this does? Oops, why? Oh man, that's not. What if my last name was actually that? That's crazy. I'm just gonna put P. No, come on. What? Yeah, there we go. All right. And this code prints out a little ASCII bunny. That's what we call it when pictures are drawn from keyboard characters. We call them ASCII art. So it prints a little ASCII art bunny out. Okay. So my next problem with this thing, besides those comments, is that it is all smushed together, and there is no award for smushing your code all together like this, because again, humans need to be able to read your code, and so I want to make some vertical spacing in my code, and I basically want a single blank line between blocks, and by block I mean a clump of code, a set of lines, a set of statements that accomplishes a certain task. So I'm going to say, I'm going to have my preprocessor directives in their own separate section. If I had more than that, one of them, I could have those all lumped together. Okay, using namespace std is its own thing, so I'll have it separated out from the rest. And then I get into main. Okay, I'm going to say that printing out this label here, bunnies know which language is best, and printing out the picture are two separate blocks, so I'm going to give it a blank line. And I'm actually going to, I am going to put a comment here. So this is printing the image itself, and this is printing the message above it. So that'll let someone know what your segments, your blocks of code are doing without them having to run your code. Okay. Here's my next problem. My next problem, oh, let me get a blank line before return 0 2, because that doesn't really belong to that block. My next problem is somehow I have defeated all the indentation inside main that shows these lines belong to it. Yes, I have these curly brackets, but I also want to, anytime I'm in a new set of curly brackets, I want that content indented a level. And so all of these things are one level in the curly brackets, so I want to make sure they are indented one level. Okay, so that is a little bit about style and commenting. Of course, when we get more complicated, we'll have to take into account new considerations for how to write code that is clean and easily readable by humans, because humans are the people who have to maintain code.